There are times in life when you're at your lowest, the person that you least expect will come to your rescue. Let's talk, y'all. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel and click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, before I get started with this review, let me send a shout out to Metro Health DC. If you were in the DMV area and you're looking for quality health care, reach out to Metro Health DC today. The number is in the description box in the comment section, and there's a form that you can fill out, and someone from the outreach team will be in touch with you if you're interested in getting services with Metro Health DC. Also, let me send a shout out to the GMHC crew, which is Gay Men's Health Collaborative. If you were in the DMV area and would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to the GMHC crew for a home testing kit. You can have the kit mailed to you, or you can call or make a same-day appointment and come to the location to pick one up. And if you're also interested in getting set up for PrEP, which is HIV prevention medication, you can also reach out to the GMHC crew for that as well. And if you're a fan of KRSTV and would like to become one of my Black Diamonds, subscribe to my Patreon today. Black Diamonds, because in darkness we still shine. For $5 a month, you get all of my YouTube content as well as videos that are specifically for the Black Diamonds. And some of those videos will also be shared to YouTube to give everyone an idea of what the Black Diamonds is all about. Also, check out my YouTube partner, BK World 2, which is the Black Netflix. You get shows like The Oval and The Haves and the Have-Nots. So after you watch this review, click that link in my description box and comment section to check out BK World 2. Now, this is Queen Sugar, Season 5, Episode 8, and the name of this episode is June 3rd, 2020. This episode was really good, and it was really heavy. So, let me not waste any time and let's jump into this. The episode opens up. Blue is having a nightmare of the cop incident that happened on the last episode, where that cop really emasculated Ralph Angel right in front of him. And Blue is literally having nightmares about that incident because he remembers the cop grabbing his gun and the cop being overly aggressive with Ralph Angel. That has definitely triggered something with Blue. Then, we also see in this episode, Calvin finally comes back. You know, him and Nova rekindle everything. And she tells him that she panicked when she got home because when she got there, Calvin wasn't there. So she knows deep down inside that Calvin is her soulmate. And pretty much, he wants to talk about marriage. And we all know that Nova's a free spirit, so this is kind of the same situation that went on with Trudy and her mother Trudy and her father Ernest. You know, Trudy was a free spirit, whereas Ernest was more traditional, and we're kind of seeing the same thing between Nova and Calvin. But he says that, look, whatever situation you want, I mean, do you want to be like Oprah and Stedman? Like, that part kind of had me laughing. But he says, whatever it is, I'm ready. And then later on, we see that she is working on her true papers, and she finds out new articles and new situations involving young black men being victims of police brutality. Then we also see that Nova has a conversation with Vi. You know, they discuss, you know, Ralph Angel and Darla because, you know, they just got married. And she talks about Calvin, and Vi pretty much told Nova that, look, he bringing up proposal, you know, if he's talking about it, he's ready, honey. And she asks, and then Nova also asks Vi about Hollywood, and she says that it's right now up and down. And while she's doing this, she's putting posters all over the diner, you know, about Black Lives Matter, and also Biden and Harris for, you know, so that was pretty telling that now, you know, we're seeing the shift where, you know, the American people want new leadership because the Trump administration pretty much failed as far as the leadership of this nation. And we're seeing that this is like the beginning of where the Black community, as well as overall in America, they want new representation. Then we get something interesting. We see that Darla is having a conversation with Darlene. Now, Darlene's high-strung ass decided on her own to submit Blue to this Sidewell Friends School in Washington, D.C. This is the same school that the Obama girls went to. And Darla is pissed off because why would you do that without my consent? But then Darlene is saying that he will get a world-class education, and that I gave them all this information, and he'll get a full ride because, you know, they are in front of this, you know, Black Lives Matter campaign, you know, and pretty much her and Darla's father, they know two of the board members through their philanthropy work. And, you know, the thing is, you know, he is exactly what this school needs because he's gifted and he's Black. But then Darla pretty much put a foot down that I don't want my son to be put under that pressure and to be victim of tokenism. You know, I don't want that kind of life for him. So Darla's pissed off. And then we see that Darla has a conversation with Aunt Vi about it. And she tells her what Darlene has done. And of course, Aunt Vi is upset. And while she's having this conversation, Aunt Vi is sitting there with Prosper and Hollywood. And Darla lets Aunt Vi know that Ralph Angel is seriously thinking about it. And pretty much she says, well, I'll deal with Ralph Angel, but yeah, Blue ain't going nowhere. And after they hang up the phone with each other, Hollywood says that, I thought that we were letting that alone. Aunt Vi was like, well, if it's about Blue, we're gonna have to take a brain check on that, because I ain't having that bullshit. Not when it come to my baby Blue. So we see right here that Aunt Vi is dead set on making sure that Blue stays in St. Joe's with the family. Because next thing you know, she has a conversation with Darlene. You know, they're pretty much virtual. And man, Aunt Vi and Darlene were going at it, honey. And Darlene was coming back, being all nasty and sharp with her mouth like she usually is. And they get into like this heated argument. And Aunt Vi is like, first of all, who do you think you are to admit Blue to that school? Like, Blue is fine where he is. You need to let him be. And Darlene is like, well, last time I checked, you're not his parent. Darla is his parent. And she says, oh, you talking about the same daughter that came to me about your mess and how you just went above her to admit him to the school without her permission? That daughter is what you talking about? Really, bitch? And then Darlene really starts going that, you know, because Aunt Vi was like, well, what makes you think you can have this conversation without even bringing me to the table? I mean, I raised Blue. And Darlene was like, I gave you money. And she's like, yeah, and I thank you for that. But I gave my time. See, you can make more money. You can't make more time. And I was like, she got you there, Darlene, because all the money in the world can't buy you time. So they really get into this heated argument, and to the point that Darlene just shuts off the connection. She just leaves. And then Hollywood is like, Vi, what is going on? You gonna make this woman get a restraining order on you? Like, tell me, Vi, what's really going on? And Vi is just like, I won't have it. I won't have it. And I was like, ooh. So her connection with Blue is very deep because she raised Blue when he was an infant. So she has that motherly connection with Blue. And I think it's also due to the fact that I think, you know, in that box that she had of Jimmy Deal, I remember there was a wristband from a maternity ward with her name on it. So I think the love and nurturing that she wanted to give to her own child, she has put into Blue. So Blue is just as much as her child as he is Ralph Angel and Darla. And I think there's a very, very deep thing that's going on with Vi, and I think it's going to be revealed later in this season, because I think there's more to the trauma that Jimmy Dale put on her that involved her being a mother. So then we see that Ralph Angel and Darla discuss, you know, Blue getting accepted into that school. And we really see that Ralph Angel is defeated. I think after that incident where he was emasculated in front of his son, he really feels powerless. And it's just sad that a lot of black men go through this every single day in this country. It's to the point where it's just downright evil that black men are made to feel less human due to, you know, police brutality. And pretty much Ralph Angel's like, I can't protect him forever. This will prepare him. But then Darla was like, do you really want Blue to be raised by my mother's influence? I mean, yeah, because we've seen what happened to Darla and all the shit she went through. So Darla may have a point there. But then he was like, I want Blue to have options. And I don't want to put no limits on him. But then she says that, but then Darla was like, well, look, Blue got into this school. Let's just celebrate it and embrace it. But our boy is not going anywhere. So Darla putting her foot down. He ain't going no damn where. Then we see later on that Ralph Angel and Hollywood are pretty much virtual. You know, they're drinking. You know, they got their, Kentucky bourbon. You know, that brown liquor, y'all. And they just tossing it up and everything. And they toast to the black women in their lives. And they have this connection. And as soon as I saw this, and I was like, Hollywood, this is a golden opportunity. Because, you know, the real spot was supposed to open before the pandemic started. So I'm like, this is your opportunity to make the real spot virtual. And I immediately saw that, because seeing him and Ralph Angel had this manly moment where they're drinking and they're discussing, you know, manly issues. I'm like, yeah, the real spot can still happen. It's just now you can take it virtual. And we've seen this a lot, you know, with the pandemic, where a lot of businesses and a lot of organizations have now gone virtual, you know, like on Zoom and Instagram Live and Facebook Live, you know, and they have just been, they have expanded and it's bloomed, you know, where even though we're not in the same space, we're still maintaining that human connection. So, and then we see that Hollywood and Vi have a conversation, and pretty much he pretty much says that, you know, I have a surprise, and she was like, well, how are you really feeling, Hollywood? And he's like, you know, I'm all right. She's like, you don't have to do that with me. You are not all right. And I'm like, it's true. I mean, you just lost your mother and, you know, you've been losing money because the real spot never opened, and yet you're paying all of this money for the lease. So a lot's going on with Hollywood. And then we pretty much see that, you know, she does like this special dinner for him. And Vi was looking good, honey. She was looking good, and pretty much, you know, they gave another definition of COVID. And shout out to Ralph Smart, because his definition of COVID is creating our own vision in detail. Because we kind of saw that here, that look, now is a time to take control and to create our own narrative of life. You know, what we had got turned upside down. Let's build a new foundation and keep things moving. And then, you know, they even gave a shout out to John Lewis, may he rest in peace, you know, about like now is the time for us to get into some good trouble. And she also made her special moms. She also made her moms, you know, mac and cheese, and, you know, made her mom's special mac and cheese or whatever. Well, Ralph Angel's mother's recipe. So she's keeping, you know, she's keeping Hollywood's mother alive, you know, in his heart, to say that your mother is still with us, you know, and I thought that was very special. Then we see that later on, while they're in bed, they discuss that, you know, Darla has made up her mind that Blue's not going anywhere. And that's when he shares that he wants to make the real spot virtual, which, as I said before, was a great idea, because that's what's happening with a lot of organizations and programs and safe spaces. And pretty much Hollywood literally told Vi, whenever you're ready to talk about what was going on there between you and Darlene, I'm here to listen. And then we see that she got real defensive physically. So it's something very deep as to why she has this strong connection to Blue. I mean, I understand that she raised him from an infant, but she literally acts like Blue is her kid, you know, and I think it's more of a deeper reason why she's displaying this. But I think my guess is that this had to do with that piece of shit Jimmy Deal, and that his violence was so traumatic that she lost her child, and then after that she could no longer have kids. So with Blue, that was like her second chance to be a mother again. But Vi needs to understand, you already a mother, honey. You are a mother to your nieces and your nephews. You always giving wisdom, you're always giving love and nurturing, and you're always giving discipline when they need it. So you already a mother, Vi. Now I'm going to talk about Charlie, because Charlie went through with this episode. We see that Charlie literally, like, I was thinking that she was having a panic attack, but she's actually showing signs of the virus. She's having trouble breathing. You know, her phone's going off and she can't even answer her phone. We see that Davis, her ex-husband, shows up. He breaks in. And pretty much she's saying that, don't come near me, I think I got it. He was like, no. Davis really impressed me this episode. And that, you know, he ends up calling the doctor, and, you know, he ends up carrying her upstairs and saying that, you know, you have to lay down so you can get your breathing up. You see that he takes her temperature. And we see that they have a flashback of their relationship when everything came out about Davis West and his cheating and all of his bullshit, and how Charlie was literally hurt to her core, because that was her soulmate. You know, that was the guy that she built a whole life around. She was the woman that made him a star, that became like his business manager. You know, they had a great life, you know, in LA with Micah. And then all of that got turned upside down because of Davis and his bullshit, and then getting involved with that mistress. Now, that mistress, she pulled that wild card when she taped that phone conversation, and we saw how much of a gutter piece of shit Davis West really was. But, you know, we see that in this scene, it's like they're built. I think there's a process of them building a new connection, not romantically, I wouldn't say, but more of a new relationship, and that finally he's being there for her the way that she was always there for him, because he knows deep down inside he failed her, and then when he failed her, he also failed Micah. So in this scene, we're seeing that he's there, being there, making sure, he's monitoring her, he's calling the doctors and everything, and he's pretty much saying that, look, right now we're monitoring, but he wants to take her to the hospital, and she's like, no, because there's people out there who need those beds more than me. And he was like, look, we'll try to remote monitor you here, but if worse comes to it, I'm taking you to the hospital, even if I have to build the bed my damn self. And we see that Charlie is impressed by this. And then we see at one point she starts, having trouble breathing, and then she just breaks down and cries. And we see that Davis, is really being there for her because he is filled with guilt as to how he treated her. And that he know that the person that he wronged the most was her, the one person who was there for him through thick and thin. And then he says that, Micah had text, but he doesn't know because, you told me not to say anything, so I didn't say nothing. And he was like, but I think if he knew, he would show up. And Charlie was like, look, he's a man now. I don't want to get in the way of what is going on, with him trying to be in the front lines. I'm proud of the man he's becoming. But he pretty much says that, hey, when you love somebody, you show up. And I think if he knew, he would be right here with you. And it also kind of spoke to him that he does love Charlie. And he's realizing that I got to make this right with her because I did her a world of hurt. And then we also see that she has a flashback of her promise to fight for justice, her promise to her father that she was going to fix things, because she knew what happened to Ernest was far bigger than what was happening to him. It was happening to all of the black farmers in St. Joe, which led her to create her own mill, Queen Sugar, and which led her to become a member of the city council. And then also she gets flashback of her relationship with Davis. And we see that her condition is improving. And so we see that there's a possibility for her and Davis to have a reconnection. And then we also see, Blue playing Jenga with Darla and Ralph Angel. And then we see Ralph Angel and Darla have a conversation. And they say that, look, we can find great opportunities right here in St. Joe. Our boy belongs here with us, with the family. We're going to keep him here. But we already see from the next episode, that situation is not over. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. I'd like to hear them. And I truly enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So until next time, everybody, take care.